Hello everyone, this is me Aiza freelancing Wali and I'm a level 1 student at Rahan School, Islamabad campus, and I'm a 12 years old. I'm a graphic designer, web developer, coding master and video editor. So today we are truly honored to have you with us today. Your passion for medical research and your dedication to volunteering in education and healthcare are deeply inspiring. We are excited to learn from your journey, thoughts, and future goals. Welcome to this meaningful communication conservation. So, first of all, please introduce yourself, Sir Benjamin.
Sure. Hi. I'm Benjamin. Well, I'm Benjamin Tangkamolsuk. I'm a high school student. I'm currently in sophomore. A student in at the British School here in Thailand, Bangkok. Um, so currently, I do medical research on a topic called sudden infant death syndrome. It's a disease affecting infants and their respiratory systems, or at least we presume that it is. Of course, I'm working on studies which try to identify the cause of the disease. I'm also a robotics educator at the British School. I'm the head coach for the robotics team at the British School, and I'm still coaching. And yeah, I think. Oh yes, and I also run a nonprofit here in Thailand, focusing on providing psychological and socio-active care towards pediatric patients in long-term care in hospitals.
Oh, thank you so much for your nice introduction, sir. So, first of all, my first question is from you. Please tell me what inspired you to become interested in medical research?
Medical research, it's an area where I think I had the most rockiest start, whereby I don't know, I can't really pinpoint. I can't really what's the best word to put it? I can't really put the needle on where it actually started, but I think it stems from my love for medicine and my love for the human body. I feel like the human body and how it works and how we interact with disease, I think it's very interesting. Uh, how and just combining that with modern medicine and technologies that we've developed, from things like pharmaceutical drugs that help cure disease, to more physical devices such as ventilators, or the invention of intravenous injections, right? it's it's very fascinating how unique and different machines, different techniques, different medications, and how we've developed across the years to help solve different problems related to our bodies. You know.
Okay, so thank you so much. Uh, your curiosity is truly inspiring. So, first of all, please tell me why do you feel healthcare is important for security?
Why do you think? Why do I think healthcare is important for society? Well, I think it's very important to take into account that, like, with healthcare, obviously everyone needs healthcare. Is one of the very basic needs. Um, Without healthcare, what then happens is, uh, obviously people get sick, people would die. But with modern medicine, I think it's also very important to take into account that healthcare isn't about just keeping people alive anymore, but it's about making sure that people receive affirming care, whether that's alleviating pain, which is one of my very biggest things, right? Because pain is not pleasant. No one likes to be in pain. So I think so. Modern healthcare isn't no longer just okay. Let's keep this person alive. Let's give them the most comfortable care. Let's give them the most pain-free care. The most what's the best way to put it? It's no longer just being about needs. It's also being about wants, and I think that's the most important thing in terms of healthcare.
Oh, that's great. So, your sense of responsibility is admirable. So, please tell me, how does education play a role in improving health?
This is a brilliant question, and this actually leads into what I'm currently trying to aim for as well. So, as part of my nonprofit, I'm I'm a founder of a nonprofit called Bedside Buddies here in Thailand, and what we do, not only do we support pediatric patients, but we work with schools in order to help deliver clinical education to children across Thailand, whether that's in like dental hygiene or general hygiene, first aid, learning about how hospitals work, so they're not scared of hospitals when they go to doctor visits and stuff like that. So I think yes, I firmly agree that education does have a significant role in healthcare, and but by introducing education towards healthy living, healthy diets, and developing a good healthy habit and lifestyle, it will definitely have a wider social effect on on future generations and also current generations, right? By teaching people to live healthier, you're less likely to have illnesses and ailments and stuff like that, right? Uh, and I feel like the biggest cure to disease long term, not short term. Short term, there's nothing really much you can do about it. You just have to cure it. But long term, the biggest cure to disease, I feel like, is education, right? Because a lot of diseases do stem from bad habits, bad cultures, bad um, knickknacks that people do. For example, not brushing their teeth, not showering, not having good dental hygiene, right? These things do build up and they do cause disease, especially non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and stuff like that as well.
Oh, that's great. So your thoughtful connection is very impressive. So please tell me what motivated you start volunteering?
What motivated to start for me to start volunteering? Um, I think partially I have to admit it has to be due to universities, right? And I am still applying for university, so I have to build a portfolio and stuff like that for university. And a lot of universities do value volunteering experience. However, the reason I go a bit more above and beyond with my volunteering, um, quite frankly, I feel like it feels really good to help people, and it's better than me doing nothing at home, right? I like to be making an impact on whether that's on an individual level, on a local level, on a domestic level, or an international level. I just feel like having that little impact and making someone's day better, but whether that's only a little bit, is is contributory, and in the bigger picture, it will chip in a little bit. But if I'm doing my part to chip in and other people are doing their part to chip in, we'll make the world a better place. You know, I'm not trying to be that hero and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go save the world. Um, I'm gonna go fix society today. That's not quite me, because obviously there's lots of constraints. I'm still a child. Um, I'm still a minor. I can't sign contracts. I still have school. I have universities coming up. Obviously, there's lots of constraints, but I feel like just doing that little bit, chipping, I think is um, makes some difference in the world.
Oh, that's great. Your compassion is commendable. So please tell me which volunteer experience impacted you the most?
I feel like the volunteering experience that truly flips how I viewed the world was with the profit nonprofit in the US called Teddy Bear Community. Just for reference, I'm still working there. Um, I mean, it's changed my views on something where I felt like not only could I just be sitting there and doing nothing, I could actually have an impact. Where initially I was starting off very low. I was an intern. I was a marketing intern, just doing marketing work for the nonprofit. But then eventually, across time, I rose to like deputy managing director, which quite frankly is a really high position. And granted, that is a really and by being in that position and seeing how nonprofits truly work and the things that goes behind the scenes that sometimes goes neglected, I feel like gives me a different perspective. Not only because I'm seeing more side of things in terms of the operation side, but also seeing how nonprofits interact with each other. Right. Um, I think one of the biggest things I wanted to I found out and I want to highlight is actually and ironically the cruelty of nonprofits and the bad side of nonprofits, especially teen nonprofits. I want to highlight that teen nonprofits, especially in the US, because remember the US. And especially in the US, college system, they highly value volunteering hours and starting your own nonprofit and stuff like that, right? But it's gotten to the point where it's so highly saturated, where everywhere you see teen nonprofits, and I can guarantee to you that 90% of them aren't very good. Uh, Partially because some of the founders lack experience, some of the owners lack activity slash motivation. Some of them aren't honest. Some of them are a bit childish, not a lot professional. Um, some of them are just blatantly what's the best word to use? Fraudulent. Yeah, some of them are just fraudulent. I'm not gonna name any names, but I've seen some of them where they say, "Oh yeah, you do this task, and we're gonna give you an absurd amount of volunteering hours," which is volunteering falsification, right? That is unacceptable. So I've seen a number of practices which I would say that's crossing the line. That's like unacceptable. But yeah, I think teddy bear community. I think with my time there, working with other people, working with different people in different cultures as well. Overall, it's just a life changing experience for me.
Okay, so your reflection shows maturity. So please tell me what area of medical research interests you the most?
So yeah, as I said earlier, I said so I'm doing research in sudden infant death syndrome or SIDS, and that's investigating why infants suddenly die at night. Um, well, they don't always happen at night, but generally they are nocturnal. Um, but my area of expertise is pediatrics and emergency medicine. So I do research. I do take a jab at emergency medicine sometimes and general pediatrics sometimes. I have a jab at a bit of both, but my main focus is on sudden infant death syndrome.
Oh, your focus is very inspiring. So please tell me how do you balance studies on volunteer?
So I don't. I don't. Um, that's a simple, brutal, and honest answer. I don't. Uh, so you might be asking if you don't, then how do you balance? Then how do you get time for it? I don't. I sacrifice my sleep for it, unfortunately. And I feel like in a world where students are being more pressured, universities being more competitive, and and the bar is getting higher and higher every single year. Uh, we're getting to a point where students are being pushed to to get less and less sleep and push their bodies to more limits, just to satisfy the needs into getting to the top universities, and that's the unfortunate truth. And it just so happens that I'm part of it as well, where I'm pulling what 5 hours a night, uh, for 6 days a week, just so that I can get my work done. And it's unfortunate. We shouldn't be sleeping that late, but it's just some things that we have to do.
Okay, your discipline is appreciated. So very good. So my next question is from you. Please tell me what skills do you think are important for a researcher?
What skills?
Yes.
What skills? What skills? I feel like I think the biggest skill is perseverance. Right? Oh, you disappeared. Writing research is a very difficult thing. not because it's really difficult to write, not because it is very difficult to learn how to do research. That's not hard. Um, in fact, I've taught research before, and it's everyone can do it. It's a very simple process, but I think the hardest part of it is having that persistence to continue writing that report, right? Because sometimes reporting goes up to 5,000 words, 6,000, 10,000 words, right? And no one wants to be writing 10,000 words. That's just not a fun activity. I mean, some might find it fun. Some researchers will disagree with me, and they say that writing research is fun. But I found it's not. I don't disagree. There's a fun to it, but not everyone finds it like it's not comparable to going to to ride a roller coaster, right? It's not that fun. And I think just having that drive to finish that research in time for deadlines, or in time where you're doing it in like a couple sittings and not extending it over months at a time, I think that's the biggest confounding factor.
Okay, your answer is excellent. So, have you ever faced challenges in our journey? In your journey, sorry.
Have I faced challenges in my journey? I mean, yeah, certainly. There's lots. But I think in terms of challenges, you'll always come across challenges, whether it's big or small. Uh, it depends on how you handle it and how you move forward from it. I think it's the best thing to put it. Like my, I don't know. I don't have one that is my biggest challenge. I'll give you a challenge I experience right now. Well, this morning actually. This morning I failed an exam. I failed. I failed an exam to one of my units, and of course that isn't ideal, right? Because now I'm not going to pass that unit. Um, but it's about how you recover from it, right? It's about how you move on that uh, beyond that point. And you know, it's like, okay, yeah, you failed the exam. What are you gonna do next? Are you gonna sit there and cry, or are you gonna contact the teacher? Are you gonna talk through it? How are you gonna revise? Can you retake the exam? It's something like that. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So, my next question is, how do you stay motivated during difficult times?
Sorry, you cut out just now. Can you repeat that question for me?
Yeah, of course. My question is, how do you stay motivated during difficult times?
I, f- I feel I feel like how I keep going forward isn't me getting motivated and pushing myself forward. It's rather me pulling myself forward, whereby I'm just like, oh yeah, you need to do this. This is something you need to do. Let's get it done. So yeah, it's more of me like pressuring myself that like if you don't do this, you're gonna get in trouble. Or like there's some confounded extrinsic motivation factor that convinces me that yeah, you need to do this, otherwise you're in big trouble. So I guess it's not really motivation. It is a somewhat motivation, but it's more of just self pressure. I think it's the best way to put it.
Okay, so your positivity is uplifting. So please tell me, which subject do you enjoy the most in school?
Which what?
My question is, um, how do you help students through education volunteer?
How do I motivate? How do I help my students?
Yes.
Um, well, I think it's very important to highlight that as a robotics coach, I teaching is only a very small and minute part of my job. Uh, of course, there's the I'm technically a robotics educator. That's the official title. But yeah, I feel like it is a very minute part of my job. especially because we're doing a competition called the Vex IQ competition, and part of that involves the students learning themselves. So, but what I feel like the most important part of my job is to actually stand back and watch mistakes happen, and to sit back and watch them figure out themselves, maybe coach them out a bit, coax the answer out of them a bit. But then at the end of the day, it's them solving the issues, them problem solving themselves and learning from that opportunity themselves rather than me telling them the answer. Because they're less likely to learn if I just tell them. But if they problem solve on their own, and uh, and the things they're problem solving on is their robot, right? It's the thing that they're manufacturing. So at the end of the day, it's their product. They're going to be proud of it. They're not going to be very proud of it if I make it. They're going to be very proud of it if they make it. If you get what I mean, right? And I feel like just providing that support, just being there and being available, being approachable for them, knowing that okay, they can make mistakes. If they make a mistake, it's perfectly fine. They problem solve. If they can't problem solve, then they can come and consult me, and being more like a tool, a consultant for them, rather than being a okay, you must do this. Here's some instructions. You do that. Be, changing that dynamic where I'm being an approachable friend that they can ask for help. Much more effective at letting them learn and develop their thoughts by themselves, and hence help building those soft skills that they can utilize in future problems. Right. And I think, as the saying goes, give a man a fish, he'll only eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, you'll teach. He'll eat for the rest of his life. I think similar concept can be applied here as well.
Okay, so your dictation is inspiring. So, what did you learn from working in healthcare related activities?
What I learned in healthcare, mm, I feel like the most important thing to take into account is that healthcare is such a dynamic job. There's so many skills and soft skills that are required that aren't cannot be taught in the classroom. Uh, Working in healthcare means that you need to make sacrifices, and yes, yeah, y- it's a it's in the financial and what do you call it, in the HR perspective, it's treated like any other job, but in reality, there's so many things that you need to take into account and consider that doesn't make it comparable to any other job. Uh, like for example, that taking in that little touch and that little care to consider everyone who's in pain. I mean, you of course you can't take in the burden of everyone's pain. That's just torturing yourself. But just having that little touch of care and patience and understanding, empathy for the person that you're treating, the person that you're interacting with, I think is the most valuable thing that you can have in healthcare. And how in other jobs you might not need it. Let's say you're an accountant, you don't quite necessarily need that skill, where you're just working with numbers on a screen. Whereas with healthcare, you're dealing with people who are in pain, who are suffering, who are confused, panicked, sometimes alarmed, or sometimes they don't even know where they are, right? So it's very important to just have that touch of care, to really have that empathy to understand them.
Okay, that's great. Your learning mindset is great. So, who is your biggest role model?
Who's my biggest role model? I don't think I have one, because I feel I feel like I don't idolize one person, because no one person is the best, right? Because we're all good and bad at different things. I can give you an example. I'm very bad at maths. I know, in fact, I'm failing my maths unit. Um, but I feel like it's very important to learn from the good things of people. This, let's say, person. I I can't think of any from the top of my head, but person A, let's say person A is very good at leading someone or interacting with someone in a team. I would maybe take copy their technique a bit, right? See how they do it, and maybe copy their techniques a bit, or tweak mine to be more similar to theirs. So then I'm still keeping my personal touch, where I'm not going too far away from my personality, but I'm taking in the good things that they've did and implement them into mine. And it's more about just implementing things, plucking things from different trees, plucking different fruits from different trees, to make a really good smoothie, rather than just plucking like all strawberries to make a strawberry smoothie, right? A pure strawberry smoothie doesn't wouldn't taste so great, right? But having a mix of different fruits into one smoothie does taste great, and I think that's I know it isn't. It's going a bit round the bush with that question, but yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
Oh, that's great. Your values are admirable. So, my last question is from you. Please tell me, how do you manage your time effectively?
So, in terms of time management, I use like Kanban boards, and like I use Notion primarily, and I organize my tasks. I literally have a list of tasks that I can pull up that like organizes it into things I need to do in top priority and top due dates, and I can reference that I can sit down and go, okay, I know what I'm gonna do, because I can see that to do board. I have, let's say, okay, let me give you an example right now. I have computer science homework to do that is a high priority that is due tomorrow, right? So I can immediately see that, and obviously after this interview, I'm gonna go do my computer science homework. So
Oh, that's great. Your planning skills are very impressive. So, I'm ended this interview. Thank you so much for your precious time, Sir Benjamin. So, thank you, Benjamin, for sharing your inspiring journey with us. Your patience, kindness, and dedication remind us that true success lies in serving humanity, and we wish you endless growth and discovery and impact in your future. So, thank you so much for your nice and precious time. Thank you.
thank you so much. And yeah,